Welcome to The Crew and You, where we want to walk with you while God works in you and through you. Today, we have another exciting episode, a Q&A. You asked, we answered with our fallible, yet hopefully helpful insight and
For
wisdom.
sure. These are questions asked that we are not experts on, but we are happy to take the floor to take a stab at what God may
We are
have.
learning. We are always learning.
Amen.
Let's do it. What do the people want to know?
Okay, one thing. How can you help your children stay strong in their faith while attending public school amidst today's challenges in our country? I would say, first off, we have tried every form of schooling. That would be a whole episode for another day.
We are not pro one version or another.
Yes, we also are not anti one way of schooling or another. And I think that's important to us that the church would hold a posture of humility and understanding of all the roots that people can be educated and hold the brokenness and the beauty in different ones and be understanding that there are a lot of reasons families are able and not able to choose different options. And if there was one way that assured the outcome you want, we would know it by now, even though culture has shifted.
Yes.
And so to take the pressure off, no pressure.
No pressure. Peace, not pressure.
To find peace where God has you and your family, if that's where you are, that is where peace is as well.
Yeah.
So I would say to the judgmental parents and to the parents that are stressed about their choices to obviously seek the Lord, weigh your options, consider all the things, and then take the pressure off and have some peace and really pour in.
Yes. You know what? I know behind this statement, Kristen has a lot of icks. Or me too, maybe.
We're not going to go
with
there.
how people handle these things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to go on a rant or anything?
I don't want to go on a rant. Actually, this is one thing I said I would never. I try to never share how we school, where our kids go to school, anything like that.
It is always because we have such a variety of experiences and children in different stages who have different needs. We've experienced, a wide variety of ways to school.
It's by God's grace that our family life is not simple because we
right.
are
and
not
some people who can keep their life simplified have very strong opinions
because it's
about
simple.
What's right or wrong, and there isn't a right or wrong in terms of schooling.
Right.
There are options and there is wisdom for your family.
Yeah.
So for Christians to say you have to do it one way or another, we find quite ridiculous.
Well, ridiculous is a strong word. Yeah. I think it's just what there is right and wrong as far as certain ways to pour into your children, train your children, invest in your children, share the word of God with your children, disciple your children. Those are primary have-tos. But to say that's not possible in certain schooling options is a fallacy.
Totally.
But that's leaving it open-handed that we literally every year are deciding different things for different kids and different needs, different stages of their life. And so being open to all of it and having experienced all of it at this point, we have
might even start our own city light school.
We really want to start our own city light school.
That doesn't mean we're anti-public school either.
Yeah. I mean, we have 11th grade, 8th grade, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st grade, and 1-year-old, which some people would say she's homeschooled. To me, I call that parenting because she's 1. By age 2, people are like, I'm homeschooling her. I'm like, she's 2. You're parenting her. Yeah.
You had a child. You have to be responsible
there's one
for that
pet
child.
peeve. I'm sorry, I revealed
I
one.
love it. I want more of this.
I revealed one.
I get the real.
And all kids should be schooled at home. There's so much investment at home. So how do they?
Okay, with that caveat in mind,
how do you stay? Help your kids. The question is framed: how do you help your kids stay strong in the faith? That reminds me of an older child that may be pursuing their own
maybe
faith,
they're
which is
in middle school. I mean, even late elementary, middle, high school. Well, I think one of the things I have always felt strongly about was the need for Christians, obviously, to be in public school, and the idea that. Now, obviously, things are a little different with the type of ideology stuff. It is more difficult now than it was, let's say, 20 years ago to make that decision. But the idea being that light is made for darkness. The Holy Spirit is, the greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. That your child can grow and maintain a godly character and witness in situations that are difficult for that. And the idea that the only solution is to remove them from that, to guard them, the idea that that's the only solution, it's not necessarily a bad one, it might be a good one. So it's not, maybe we need to do that. We might start a Christian school. All those things are wonderful. They're not bad. But the idea that that's the only way, and that if they're in that situation, they're lost to all the other things. That's just not biblical at all. So one is, we've always wanted to, no matter what in schooling environment they're in, is in right, appropriate ways, have them be exposed, to some of the things the world does and thinks, so that we can parent them through it, so that we can have those conversations. So I think one of the ways is just like a constant open dialogue about what their friends are doing, thinking, about the type of things that they're learning, even about, like, our oldest is at a school and she has a class on morality, and it's this or that. It's not very clear all the time. They're doing philosophical stuff, but it's an open conversation, and then we can redirect, talk about God's view of things. So whatever the issue is, it's having a constant open conversation with your children to be able to help them navigate. Hey, some people do have homes like this. Some people do think this is not wrong. Like, that's normal. Some people are like really nice and kind and living totally opposed to God's will. And so you don't need to be surprised by that. Let's navigate what that looks like. What does that mean about the Bible? So
Yeah.
I think not being scared of kids interacting with maybe things that we'd say are not good, and being ready to say, hey, look, this is how the world goes. This is what God says. And let's move in light of that, move forward in light of that.
Yeah, I think that's important. Looking at fear and how you school your children and how you form their faith is very important.
Yeah.
If you're able to homeschool, if that is based out of fear, I would keep that in check. If you are having your kids in school and you're riddled with fear of what that's going to do, keep that in check. That is never from the Lord. So to combat those things, if you have your kids in public school, I think have the daily rhythms at home, to invest, to be proactive, preventative, pouring in things of the Lord. Look at your community. Who are they engaging with, that you would choose, the environments you would choose? And then how is the community that they're with at school in your life? Have the kids over to your house more than they're going to other houses. Be at the school, knowing the kids. So when they come home and say, so-and-so did this, said this, you have some just background knowledge, context of what's going on. And I think one of the biggest things is what you said of how to engage your kids in thinking, critical thinking. Yeah. So I don't know that we like intentionally expose them, but knowing that there will be exposure. And of course there's the argument that like we're called to be light and missions, not impressionable kids. And so there is, of course, a huge realm of that being true, and wisdom in that. And so, but with that, wherever God has them on sports teams or in school or whatever, of how to have an open relationship with them where they will come to you with the rubs and the wrongs and the struggles and the strains of so-and-so did this. Mom, can you believe that? What do you think of that? Instead of like, I would never tell my mom that because that in my home is wrong.
Right.
And so to be able to equip kids with understanding this is how we think and feel. Also, other people don't. I think some Christian parents even have a hard time with that. Other people think this thing, and they want to stay so far from that thing that they won't even equip their kids to understand what that
kids
thing
move
is.
Out of the house and they...
Yeah. And so it's those open conversations. And I think that goes for all ages. We look at our teen, much less control over the environment she's in, the people she chooses, but where we can draw the lines of the people she's with, the access she has. And I would say the media and environment your kids are in can matter more than a lot of things. So keep that in check. They could be home all day, but educating themselves on the computer with access to a lot of things. So it's nuanced, it's complicated, it is also simple. You do the best you can and leave so much to God and prayer, because it is the Lord's work, the Spirit's moving, that a child would follow the Lord. And there's plenty of homeschool people who walk away from the Lord, and plenty of public school people who are impassioned for the Lord. It doesn't
guarantee nothing, right?
And vice versa. So take the pressure off, do your best, trust the Lord.
Yeah, just invest in.
Yeah.
That's a good point, that there are so many ways to be exposed. Like, you could be in private school, but if you have any form of social media, then you've lost control. Like, there are a lot of different things where it's just not as simple as schooling. But yes, just train. I think too, it's just the investment on the parent side, like you said, of like getting with them in the morning, teaching them the Bible, memorizing scripture, going over Bible stories, serving at your church, like serving in missions, just being like consistent across the board is going to help them feel like this God thing is real, not just some rules or ick factors of like, well, the whole world thinks this is okay and you guys are too traditional or whatever it might be. It's like, no, man, this God thing is very well rounded. And there are some, I think, families who are very like yucky to the bad stuff, but they don't put that proactive good stuff in, of following Jesus is really awesome in so many ways. Anyways, okay, that's enough on that.
Okay. Do you have the next ones?
My husband and I both struggle with depression, and I have CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. How do we stay close to each other and Jesus in the midst of our struggles? And you could probably just broaden that to say, if a couple was like, we both have some mental health struggles, particularly depression, anxiety, whatever, and maybe some traumatic past, which is probably true for a lot of couples, how do we handle that relationally, and how do we stay close to Jesus through that?
Okay, I would say to this, CPTSD is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Stress disorder, did I say that? So everything you said is what they're referring to. I would say, one, know the Lord and his kindness, that he is near to the brokenhearted. That is clear in all of Scripture. Make him your best friend, because in this times where you're struggling and your spouse is struggling, there will be struggle. And so make the Lord your nearest confidant, your nearest hope, your nearest feelings of self are found in your identity and worth in the Lord. And your time with him will look different than when you are well versus when you are mentally struggling.
Yeah.
But invest in however that can. Listen to the Bible, lay in bed and pray. Try to, meditate on things of the Lord. Like, he will meet you there. Pray for your spouse to do the same. Pray for your spouse to feel the same. When you have nothing left to give your spouse, pray for them that the Lord would shift how you feel about them, that the Lord would shift how they feel. All of these things. And so that's the foundation. Giving so much grace to each other, looking for small points of connection, small points of encouragement. One thing that is not as natural to me, and so to some people like you, this is like, yeah, duh. But to me, it's like important to force myself to think, to interrupt your life with fun, to interrupt your life with celebration. And in this context, maybe it's like, you're celebrating that your husband got out of bed today. I don't care. Celebrate. Do something to put your mind on the positive, to celebrate with each other when there's nothing to celebrate. Like, force it. If you're like, my whole life is a wash right now, because depression or PTSD, all that can make us feel that way, feel triggered all the time, whatever. Combat that by literally choosing to interrupt the day with fun, whatever that is. Watch funny videos if that's how low your bar is set.
Sure.
And focus on that. Someone else, when I was first, I think, a parent, I was at this, I think it was a mom's thing or a church thing or something. And the lady was saying to, the whole time her husband's at work, she talks him up to her kids. And as she's picking up his shoes off the floor and stuff like that, she would talk him up to the kids so that when he got home, they were all happy to see him.
Oh, smart.
And I was like, that boy better just pick up his shoes off the floor. I mean, but as time has gone on, it's one of those things that has resonated as far as how am I thinking about the people in my home as I'm cleaning up after them, as I'm, in this case, probably seeing the symptoms of depression in both of you linger around your home. How am I thinking about them, talking about them, coaching myself through it in a way that breeds not resentment, bitterness, separation, dissension, but breeds some bit of thankfulness, connection, things like that.
Yeah.
And what you always talk about is extending what they don't deserve, dying to self, even when you're the one struggling.
Totally.
And they're struggling too. Ditch the tit for tat of well, I'm more struggling than you're struggling, so you should serve me as much as you can.
Let go of that, yeah.
Let go. Who's more tired? Who's more impacted? And
serve one another.
Yeah, pull yourself out by serving one another.
Yeah.
And obviously get professional help.
Yes. It should be well-rounded, Jesus, community, medicine, hobbies, exercise, sleep. I mean, you name it. There are a lot of different ways to counteract. Don't scroll, don't doom scroll, all these different things that make it worse. Get your time with the word, even if it doesn't feel productive.
Fight to control.
Fight to keep doing things you can choose. So there's so many things, there's such a big topic, but when things feel out of control or things that happened in your past, or you have a cloud over your current, you can't necessarily choose for the cloud to go away. You certainly can't choose for the past to be different.
Yes.
But you can choose the thoughts that you keep. You can choose the decisions that you make. You can choose the way you navigate your day. And this is where you don't let your feelings lead you. So choosing to serve, choosing to be with Jesus, choosing to find community, choosing to trust others, choosing to extend the benefit of the doubt, choosing to give grace. So that is a way forward, at least. Certainly very difficult and not easy at all. Very all-consuming, and I understand the struggle there.
And honestly, keep your eyes on eternity. Like one day it won't be like this, and lighten your load by looking at eternity of one day. There will be no crying, no
more
pain,
depressive thoughts,
no more
trauma.
Study heaven. That's one of my things.
Yeah.
Study heaven. If you don't know where you're headed and how good it is, how can you look forward to it?
Encouraging, yeah.
Well, that may lead us into how do you get past the feeling of unattracted to your spouse physically and emotionally, or what do you do if your spouse of many years gives you the ick and you can't get rid of it? Not us talking about.
We would have no experience
giving
with
each other
that.
the ick. You know what gives me the ick is how he doesn't want to plan for these podcasts, and I do.
Wow, can't say that out loud.
That's called vulnerability.
Oh, okay.
That took
prepare
no
is a funny word. Prepare in the way that you think, and the prepare in the way that I think are different things. I am prepared, just not the way you like to be prepared.
Period.
Anyways, the ick. Well, what do you do when your spouse gives you the ick? Yeah, welcome to life. How can you have relationships with people who don't? Every person in your life will eventually give you the ick in one way or another. I mean, how could you have any real relationship with someone who doesn't do that? Now, there would probably maybe this is like they always give me the ick, or like I'm put off by them. That would be way more difficult than like, oh, they obviously annoy me sometimes.
Wait, what do I do?
Which you would never.
What do I do that gives you the ick?
Annoy me.
You know all my icks. I'm very honest.
You are. No, to a fault. No doubt. No doubt. I am always aware where I stand with Kristen Career.
I never leave him guessing. I never leave him guessing.
Thank you for that. That's helpful. Sometimes sad, but helpful, you know. That's good.
I love this.
You don't give me the ick in any way.
You just said everyone gives everyone the ick. Name one. Like, obviously, don't hurt my feelings right now, but name is there like a daily habit type thing that you're like, come on.
That gives me the ick?
Yeah.
I mean, the way you handle this podcast discussion gives me the ick. When we try to do any kind of like work together, it's probably a little icky sometimes.
Oh my goodness. That's so fun. Okay, guys, everyone tell Nate this week. If you prepared a little bit more, it would be so good. Joke with Nate.
Not unprepared. You know what else gives me the ick?
What? Is it silly or serious?
Tell
me and I'll tell you if it's silly or serious.
The other thing that gives me the ick.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm just kidding. I don't have anything.
No, what were you going to say? You were going to say something.
No.
It won't hurt my feelings.
No. Remember when we did the foster care icks?
Yes. Those are fun.
Definitely clean. You know, one of my icks is when we
someone's
you'll
coming
say
over.
Something like the house doesn't look good enough. It's not clean enough.
Mm-hmm.
And our standards for what that might mean are different. But then obviously I have to rise to the occasion when I don't want to do that and die to myself. A good time to practice that.
Okay. Well, you are great at stepping in and helping. I don't typically ask for your help, but you see the need and you meet the need.
Oh, and every husband knows. You don't have to be asked. You don't have to be asked. Every husband knows that.
But it's mostly you see the need to help my mental.
Mentals.
Yeah.
Your mental
state. So
state.
You do the tangible that you don't agree with to help prevent the the mental breakdown that you do want to prevent.
100%. 100%. No mental breakdowns in the crew house.
Oh, man.
Okay, so what do we do when your spouse gives you the ick?
Okay.
Well, one is you
talk
forgive
about
them.
it on a podcast.
2 is you just, vulnerability, authenticity, genuine.
Those are Nate's icks with other people.
Everybody wants to be authentic, and what they mean is they don't have any self-control.
They want to give full vent to their spirit, like the proverb says.
The proverb says a fool gives full vent to his spirit.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what do you do? Well, you need to, one, remember that you're married. Your marriage is a covenant before God. So unless one of you goes off and like commits adultery or is abusive in like a really harmful way, or the other one's an unbeliever and just leaves, those are the only 3 biblical ideas for any kind of divorce or separation. And those are extreme. So outside of those things, you have to stay married. This is a covenant before God. So one of that is like, okay, like if I get rid of the option of like I can stay icky forever, or like this could just be miserable. I can't leave unless I wanted to disobey God. So now it's like, all right, I need to work on finding things that I love about them, reminding myself of those things, being humble to remember the ways in which I contribute to any of the icks, building community or being a unity around the things that we do enjoy. I don't know. You got to like coach yourself out of that in one sense and not accept that those can be the case, or not maybe blow up some of those things.
Yeah.
Having open conversations, like
not too open.
Yeah, in appropriate ways,
Don't hurt
I guess.
Feelings.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt their feelings. But
unnecessarily.
Yeah.
No,
or having other people you can be open about the things that frustrate you about your spouse without having to tell that person directly.
Yeah, I agree. I think, if the foundation is we're staying married, then it can just be some
It's a big foundation.
Yes, then there can be some disappointment I want to empathize with, as far as, is this as good as it gets? Is this is what, if it was like this every day the rest of my life, the feeling of this, how I do naturally feel inclined to this person, that's a hard feeling to have. I would say God will give you the grace for today. Don't look ahead. So much can change. So much will change. And so you fight to make that change for better. So maybe you don't feel like you can control your natural prowess right now, but you can choose what you focus on that you do like about that person. You can focus on 1 Corinthians 13 of what love really is, and it's not always this maybe this
warm vibey,
warm romantic love. Like what God asks of you is higher and better than that. You search for everything you need in the Lord in a way that the outpouring of that can be towards the other person. You act in a way that you don't feel, and which is kind of what you said before, but almost a fake it till you make it in some ways of, I'm going to extend this level of love, care, effort, attraction towards you and pray the Lord has my feelings follow suit. That can be true with different things in life, including this. And so I think you go to the Lord as honestly as you can. This is one of those things that people would naturally draw a line with, like not taking that to the relationship with the Lord. The Lord cares about you, your feelings, your marriage, and Satan tries to get in your marriage too. Totally. So you do what you can to tackle it, fight for it, and also kind of neutralize. Every marriage has things that are so much less than ideal, and we keep fighting for each other together as a team. And I think really focus on those things you do like about that person, capitalize on them, prioritize them, invest in them, and make sure you're speaking to yourself and others and the spouse in a way that increases that, not decreases that.
All right, next question. Can you talk about ADHD? That's a very wide open question. But we have some experience with that in our home.
I don't know if I can make this a quick answer.
Obviously, it's a huge topic with a bunch of stuff. So give us the 3-minute.
Okay. All right. Rant, spiel, encouragement, challenge.
Parenting kids with ADHD.
So,
I don't know.
Yeah. My context for this is one, obviously, I was a special ed teacher that worked with kids with different needs.
So you actually know things.
Foundational.
This is not, biblical
I went to school for this for many years. I did it. And then we, have welcomed kids into our home that have different needs and have helped a lot of other families who have done the same. Yep. And so ADHD is something I'm passionate about. Here's what I want you to know. It is not a wiggly boy. It is not someone necessarily who just can't pay attention. It is not a label to excuse certain things you see. It's not some flippant thing like, oh, I have ADHD, I didn't get that task done. It is a brain neurological difference. And in the UK, they call it a disorder of executive functioning, because not only is it this hyperactivity or this impulsivity, it can be both or either in a way that affects many aspects of life. It's not just hyperactive little boy, which it can be. And so ADHD is a brain difference. The dopamine is down, which is the area of the brain that has like motivation, reward, all of those things. And then what we explain to our kids is it's like someone with a really cool motorcycle. A doctor, I think Dr. Hollowell coined this, but they can't pump the brakes. So their brakes don't work hard enough. And so it is these fantastic brains that, especially in childhood, cannot pump the brakes. So we're talking kids who can't start following a direction or complete following a direction. A kid who can't, or that struggles with all these things, with impulsivity, doing things that you're like, why'd you do that? That made no sense.
So many times we asked.
Could also or not also be hyperactivity and all these things. And so what I think is important for people to know at any age or stage, it can be a huge gift. We look at these brilliant people who have had ADHD because it can give you, as much as it can take you all over the place in your mind, you can hyper focus on something and be...
It's like a super skill. Like
a super skill, particularly in adulthood.
Yes.
But in childhood, it often needs support. And if the ADHD, the brain difference, doesn't get support, then often by like middle elementary school age, there are an increase in anxiety, concepts of self, because by that point, the brain difference of not being able to pay attention, focus, you know, sit in your seat,
do your homework,
even listening to coach, all that, then becomes a friend issue of now, you know, you're just as smart as these people, but you can't do as they do. Your friends aren't as patient with your impulsivity and distant. And so then you internalize all this. You get told no so many more times than the average person, and you internalize it. When in reality, these are also people who are so loyal, so perceptive, so kind, so well-meaning, and their brain just has limitations. So I would like people to see it more in that framework. And from that, obviously, there are treatments that are so worth it. Obviously, we're big proponents of counseling, but that is not proven to be the most impactful help for an ADHD brain. Medication is, and obviously we feel passionate about that. It can be incredibly life-changing. There's stimulants, non-stimulants, all different kinds, supplements, also exercising. Like I think a psychiatrist told us exercising, 3 to 5 times a week where you get your heart rate up to a certain level can have the same impact. I'm not sure if this is on a child or an adult, as Prozac, as an antidepressant. And that's not ADHD specific. That's more antidepressant side. But exercise is incredibly helpful to focus the ADHD person and mind. So I want people who haven't experienced ADHD to have more understanding that it is a brain deep difference. And if there's a kid that's not following your directions, all over the place, like sometimes it legitimately is hard for them. That is not an excuse. It is an explanation for that. So
you can help them.
Yeah. And like for an adult, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I have ADHD. I'm late for work. It's an explanation as to why it's hard for you to get to work on time, but it's not an excuse. So we need to equip you with, yes, there's medication, but also tools, skill building, all those things to give you the bridge to get to work on time. Yeah. And the same way with the kids. Yes, this is incredibly hard for him, but he does have to learn to function in a group environment. So what skills, strategies, support does he need, or she, in order to succeed? What accommodations, what modifications, what, internally or external supports do they need? And so it's really impactful and really interesting. And I wish people understood it more.
Wow.
Are you sorry you asked?
Welcome to our masterclass on ADHD.
Are you sorry you asked?
That'll be $20 an hour for that. Am I sorry? No, it was amazing. I have nothing to add because you say it all. If you would like to know more, talk to her. I think it does create empathy, though. More empathy. The kids that look super disobedient and crazy, it creates empathy. Say, it's not that simple. And most of the time, they don't necessarily want to be as bad as they are perceived. Yeah,
there's the phrase, if they could do better, they would. Totally. And you think that's true for 99.9% of humans. If we could do better, we would.
It really is. The older you get, the more empathy you have when you realize there's a lot of reasons people do the things they do that aren't just like, do better, or like they're doing bad. It's like, oh, they got reasons.
Yeah. And this definitely goes sometimes undiagnosed till adulthood, which is fine. But like I had a friend who her husband just got the explanation that he has ADHD, and they started some different methods for it, and they're like, I can't believe we live like this.
Like so long without it.
I had no idea I was living on like in deficit when I could be at full capacity to focus, get work done, initiate, all the things. So it can be helpful to know.
Thanks for joining us today. Another episode of The Crew and You. You asked, we answered. We want to walk with you as God works in you and through you. I hope today was helpful. Send us your questions next week. As always, we'd love to be as helpful as we can. Until next time, see you later.